Even for many of us that are very accomplished, there are certain feelings coming up quite a lot. We feel a little bit like in a gap, or we are drifting in our life. Many of us feel sadness or anxiety, and something is just a little bit strange. It is as if we are living a life that is not fully in alignment with who we truly are. And this can be very painful because on the outside it seems that we are having it all together, but inside there is a deeper longing for something. Sometimes you don't even know what it is. And in today's video, I like to talk with you about exactly that. How can we cross this gap? A couple of days ago, I had a conversation with two friends, and they were asking me like, how are you doing? What's your state of being right now? And I recognized, you know what? There is some strange thing that I experience. It seems as if there is a version inside of me, a me inside of me, that is a different me than the me that I'm able to show and express in the outside world. And what I also noticed is that this me inside of me is much more creative, is much more aligned, is also a way deeper and also, I would say, like more creative than the version that I'm able to live in the outside world. And I know that problem for a long time, and this is why I have been working a lot on myself, trying to close that gap. But in this moment, when I was asked, I was suddenly able to see it very clearly. What is the most fundamental question that you can ask? It is, who are you? Because when you don't understand who you are, how should you ever be able to express more openly, more creatively, and with more presence exactly that who you are? And of course, this question is a very deep question, and we cannot answer those questions just in an instant. But when you are looking or seeking for living a life that is more in tune, that is more aligned with who you are, of course, it's very important to understand who you are, because then suddenly you start to act and behave in ways that are more truthful to you. So a fundamental aspect of that is that you learn to understand what's going on inside of you. And I mean emotions, feelings, thoughts. And this is not something that we can just do with a hack or with 5 golden rules of how to do it. It has to do with our capacity to be aware and to observe and to witness what is going on inside of us. And my experience is that understanding how the psyche works, how our emotions work, doesn't mean that we have to control or direct or know everything about us, but it means that we have this capacity to see what is going on deeper levels. Of course, there are many different things that you can do to do that. One thing that I like to do most is journaling. I'm writing a lot. I'm writing down my thoughts. I'm writing about my emotions. When some sort of strange feeling comes up inside of me, I really look deeper into where is it coming from? What is happening here? Is it really something that belongs to me, or is it something that just comes up? I really try to understand as much as possible what is going on inside of me on all the different levels and layers of who I am. And I mean, like, I have been studying more than 400 books of psychology, of spiritual scriptures about how the body works, how emotions work. I try to read and get information about everything that makes us a human being. And the more I read, I also understood that sometimes the answers that I got, they were really interesting and valid on themselves, but they were also conflicting. And what I also understood is that sometimes I got some methodology or framework and I thought like, oh, this is how the psyche works. This is how I work. And it gave me insight. And then I stumbled into a situation where I recognized like, oh, but here it's not working. So my experience is that all of the knowledge that is out there is really important, but the deeper understanding of who you truly are can only come up inside of yourself. And the more you're doing inquiry, the more you're using contemplation and research into your own mind, into your own scope of experience, into your own consciousness, the more you start understanding your very unique ways of how you act. When I turn inwards and I use my attention for understanding more of who I am, suddenly I got those insights, I would say like intuitive wisdom about how I am, who I am, how things work inside of me. And this is, I would say, like the most profound route to go. So this question, who am I, cannot be answered in one sentence. It's a continuous process of going deeper with yourself, of committing to understand what is going on inside of you. And having this honesty builds a deep connection to yourself. And this connection is really important because when you have this connection, you are also able to step by step allow more of who you truly are to be expressed in the outside world. And this has ripple effects because suddenly you are creating different ways of relationship, you are getting different opportunities, you have different ways of how you behave and how life can respond to you. Sometimes when we are on the journey of finding out who we truly are, we come to moments that can be frightening because we are tapping into fears or anxieties that we have, situations maybe that we project into the future where things are going wrong, or we have certain things that have been happening in the past that we tap into, and it's very difficult to deal with the emotions. I have been creating the Beyond Fear neural tool, which helps you to deal with those fears and anxiety in a very profound way. This meditation has been downloaded more than 160,000 times, and the people that are using it say it is one of the most profound experiences that they had. And it's not a quick fix for all that we are going through, but it is a very powerful tool to help you to get more into alignment, remove the clutter and the barriers and the things that are stopping you from really coming closer to yourself and be who you truly are. I highly recommend it. You find the download link in the description. So let's come to question number 2. What do you really want? If you don't know what you really want, you are creating things randomly. And it doesn't mean that there is some sort of thread through all the different things that you do, but what do you really want on a deeper level? It's not about material things. It's about what you truly want for yourself in your life, what you truly want for your relationships, for your vision, maybe in business or in your family. We want so many things, and oftentimes those things are not really coming from our own source, from our deepest core. They are coming from outwards expectations, or because we thought we should need to have that, or because friends are having it too. And what's so important is, in a very fascinating way, the more you are coming to this deeper core, this me inside of me, this you inside of you, you recognize that some of the ones you had, they are just not meaningful to you. Some of the ones you had, they are still meaningful, but they get a different quality. You don't want to have them just for having them, but there is some underlying intention why you want that. And because you are becoming more conscious about what you want, you are starting to act differently. You are starting to prioritize the things that are truly important to you and deprioritize the things that are not as important to you. And in the beginning, that might seem a little bit like off because, of course, we have a lot of duties. There are a lot of demands when we're having a company. We have to do a lot of things, even things that we don't want to do. But yet what I also recognize in my own life and also in working with my clients who have a lot of things to do, that step by step, the more you know who you are and the more you know what you truly want, you are aligning yourself and your actions more to these things. And step by step, and sometimes also very quickly, things can change in your life. So because you're giving more attention and intention to what you want, you are also creating more opportunities in that way. You're creating more intentionally the reality, the life that truly is fulfilling for you and that inspires you. And it doesn't mean that all of that just works out like magic, but there is some, how to say that, there is some awe and wonder again and again when I see how quickly things can change as soon as we're dropping into and sinking deeper into that wanting that comes from the deeper place. The next big question on our journey to cross that gap from the me inside of me to the me in the outer world is to understand where do you belong? The first and most important understanding is that I need to belong to myself. We're talking here about this deep self-connection. And I don't mean that in an egocentric way. The deep connection and friendship that we build with this me inside of us. Because, yeah, we have a community, we have a family, we might have a team where we belong to. But what I also recognize is the higher the quality of self-connection, the more I'm in tune and in resonance with myself, the better the relationships and the feeling of belonging also to other people starts to take place. And it's so strange, right? I'm working with a lot of people who have teams. Sometimes they have like lots of employees, they have great teams, they have families. And still, the number one thing that I hear from people, very successful people, is that they feel alone. And feeling alone, of course, is an awful experience. But the thing here is that they feel alone because they don't have this inner connection to themselves. They are not belonging to themselves. And so many of us try to nourish or overcome this loneliness with relationships in the outside world. And of course, those are important. We need friends, we need support from other people. But when I'm not having a good relationship with myself, I can guarantee you all of my other relationships are in a way flawed. And then there are arguments, there are frustrations, all the stuff that we know from having relationships with other people. But as soon as I'm more connected to myself, the higher quality relationships and connections I have with others. So understanding that belonging to myself is the most important relationship and connection that I can build is a huge amplifier in regard to coming closer to this deeper me inside of me and bringing it out in the world. Then comes the next question. When do you start? The internet is full of quick hacks, of protocols, of 5 steps to whatever it is. And every one of us is always seeking for the quick fix, the quick solution. But what I'm talking about here, bridging this gap, connecting to this me inside of me and bringing it out into the world is a lifelong journey. It is something that you need to commit to in regard that you're kind of really going all in for yourself. And this commitment is so powerful because when you say, I want to start with that, I want to have this deeper connection with myself. I like to be more who I truly am. I like to express more of this true me in this world that is full with distractions and distortions and shimmering, glimmering things. I want more of the real deal. This is all about you committing to yourself and going all in, even if it might be at times threatening or challenging, or you go through phases of tension or of anxiety and fear, because actually facing ourselves and learning to express ourselves needs a lot of courage. You cannot just kind of do it. And it seems that some people are having a more easy time with that, and some people need a little bit more time. I'm one of those. I mean, like when I see how I was as a child and how I am now, it took me quite a lot of years to come to a place where I'm learning day by day to express more. But this commitment that I want to start with that this is now the time. Now is the time to do that, not in 5 or 10 years, but now is super important because in a way, already this decision and this contract that I do with myself is a big relief because suddenly I understand now I'm shifting into a more meaningful way of being in my life and acting in my life and creating a reality that is more meaningful and more purposeful to my own sensations and feelings. And now the 5th part, when will you arrive? And arriving is not something that is happening in the future because you did it all right. Arriving is a moment-to-moment experience. Most of the time we think, I do something here, then this is happening, and here I will get the result. This is a sort of linear thinking that does not really work with this deeper self inside of us. It does not really work in the psyche. But my experience in my own life is that many of the shifts from this deeper me inside of me and bringing that forward, they come like this, like in a moment, in a finger snap, through an insight, through this intuitive experience who I am, and giving myself permission and the space to research that, to express that, to experience that, to fail with that. And yet, even if I'm failing, I'm already arriving moment to moment to moment. So being in this state of arriving in every moment, I might be happy, I might be sad, I might have a good day or a bad day. Things work out or they don't work out. And yet I'm always recognizing I'm in a state of arriving on a deeper level with myself. And this actually is where the fulfillment is taking place. And if we are not taking care of that, if we're suppressing it, putting it aside, say tomorrow, maybe tomorrow, I don't have time for that right now, I would say that this is one of the biggest traps we fall into. It's not about tomorrow. It's about right now, here in your life, because step by step, you are learning what it means to feel this notion of arriving inside of yourself. Then there comes more peace of mind, more calm. There comes more creativity. There comes more appreciation for who you truly are. The judgment, the negative self-talk gets less and less and less. And suddenly you recognize, you know what? In a way, it feels as if I'm more who I truly am. You're coming closer to the source of who you truly are. And I would say this is one of the most important things we can do. I've seen that again and again in the work with my clients as a therapist and coach, that people who are doing this work, people who are committing to themselves, who really want to go deeper with who they truly are, and who have the courage to play with that, to experience that, they make massive progress. They are achieving and experiencing more of what is really meaningful for them. And a lot of the craziness, the lostness, the sadness, the anxiety, the frustration that they have been experiencing in their life suddenly fades away. Suddenly it is getting calmer. Suddenly everything is more meaningful and makes more sense. And I invite you to use those questions for yourself, write a little bit, see what is coming out. It's not about right or wrong. It's about step by step finding a path that is truly inspiring to you. So if you like to understand more about what it means to manifest from the wrong self, I recommend to you my video about manifesting from the wrong self and how you can make this shift, creating a life that is more in alignment with who you truly are. See you in the next video.